Hello everybody and welcome to another Tech Minute video. My name is Tom from 6 Foot Networks. Thank you for joining me in the office today. So I wanted to do a quick recap of my experience with OpenDrive. So about a month ago or so, I went through the whole research process of trying to find a nice cloud-based provider which was cost effective and didn't have a lot of the restrictions in place that most had. And we ended up with OpenDrive. So first of all, they don't sponsor this. This is just me sharing my experience as a fellow engineer to the community. So what I really liked about OpenDrive, which, other cloud-based providers also provide, is the fact that you have the ability to natively integrate that into your Finder. So it essentially shows up on your computer, like right here, as a Finder window that you can manipulate and work with and put data into, and it ends up in the cloud immediately. If you don't have an internet connection, be aware, you won't have access to your data. That is the one thing about cloud drives that you have to remember, is that you're essentially putting your data over the internet onto somebody else's computer. In fact, I have a shirt that says the cloud is just somebody else's computer. And that's true, at least in this sense. What I liked about this is that they have plans that are unlimited. So basically they don't charge you by the amount of data that you need to upload or download, or if you're changing stuff around, that doesn't incur any cost. There are some providers that do charge for that. On this screen, which I know you can't quite see, I actually have the web-based version of this same window. And I like that because if I'm in a hurry and I need to open up a PDF or something, even on my phone, I can go in over LTE or 5G and quickly, look at a contract or something that was done. I don't have to worry about, signing on to a VPN and getting into the NAS and dealing with network delays and whatnot. This makes it super seamless, super friendly. I can do it via browser, or if I have my MacBook, I can just open it up natively, bridge my MacBook to my phone via 5G or whatever, and get to the internet that way if I'm in a place where I don't have internet connectivity. It would be really great if Apple put 5G modems in their MacBook Pros, I think, especially the M1 ones. So that way they could be more like an iPad and less like a traditional MacBook that requires tethering of some kind to get to the internet. Anyway, I digress. My experience with these guys has been pretty good. And I say pretty good because I've had some pretty serious issues. One of which already required me to submit a ticket to them to kind of resolve. And that issue was that OpenDrive does not support a lot of the file naming conventions that macOS natively does. And their reply to that was, well, the infrastructure is built on Linux and Linux has a specific breakdown of what it supports. For example, I'll give you some quick examples that I can think of in the front of my head. Certain characters aren't supported. Don't ask me which ones, because I can't remember which ones macOS now supports and which ones these guys don't support. But I can tell you that if you have a space in front, one of the big things in my line of work specifically, and also my clients, is that if you're dealing with organizing file structure and trying to get folders into a certain spot and using list view versus icon view versus the other views, putting spaces in front of a file name tends to bring stuff to the top. Just like adding a Z or some kind of weird character to the beginning of your folder will put it towards the bottom. So if you're doing like Z archive, that folder drops all the way down to the bottom and you don't see it in your prime real estate, especially when you're working on a MacBook. One of the things that I used to do a lot of, which now unfortunately I have to rethink the way I do things, is adding spaces in front of folders. Not only does that indent the folder, so you can have a nice, view that kind of goes, more like the rooftop of a house, where the more you indent, the higher up it is. So if you're up here and you add another space in to this folder that's here, it'll actually go above it. It's actually really interesting, and it worked. It's worked for a lot of people. It's not just me and my OCD brain that came up with that. These guys don't support that, so you have to either go through and rename your files and folders, or use the tool that they give you, which is the client that you install on your computer. It's essentially called, and let me make sure that I get the nomenclature right. I'm actually going to open this for you here. It's called Sync and Backup. And it's this tool right here, and I know you can't see it, so just bear with me. It's called OpenDrive Sync and Backup Manager. And what that tool allows you to do essentially is it allows you to select a path and go through, and it'll do the management for you with regards to file names. It'll go through and rename files and folders to match the naming convention that this platform supports. Otherwise, you get errors. If you do it by hand, for the most part, I was doing that. I was having a whole bunch of folders that were coming and going, and a lot of them would just fail. And the error messages were not descript. They were either weird error codes or something that you couldn't decipher, and you were left with just a failed transfer, and you didn't know where it failed, and you had to delete everything and start over. This tool, you pick your source, you pick your destination, you hit start, and you can tell it how many threads you wanted to use. I've been using 5, and actually on this one it's still going. I don't know if you can see that, but it's still moving data from our NAS up to the cloud, to their platform. Overall, I think it's the best bang for the buck. I will put down in the description exactly how much we're paying for this, but it is unlimited and there's no caps. There's no weirdness with, oh, we're gonna charge you per gig or per meg or whatever. So OpenDrive, pretty good. And you can see who their customers are, T-Mobile, Ancestry, Remax, FC Barcelona, Office Depot, Office Max, and Michigan State University. Can't compete with that, but I figure if their names are there, they must be pretty good. Give them a try. I would honestly have to recommend them for unlimited all-in-one cloud storage. Now, as far as backups go, if you're looking at a cloud provider for backups, especially ones that integrate with Synology, look at Backblaze. They have the means, they actually have an instruction manual that also, like this, is unlimited in terms of data, but it's a little bit better with integrating directly with Synology. Anyway, give us a thumbs up if you like this video. If you really like this video, please consider subscribing. It really does help the channel. In the meantime, good luck and thank you for watching.